What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Corbs, aka Mr. 10 and a 10, and I'm here with legendary rap artist Ras Kass. How are you today?
I am well. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I've been wanting to contact you for a while, and I'm just so excited.
Oh man, I'm glad we can make it happen, man.
Yep, it's definitely a good day. All right, so normally with my interviews, I like to start from the very start, wherever possible. And and from what I understand, you grew up in Carlson, California, correct?
Uh, Lived in Carson my whole life, which is a suburb, and grew up, went to school in Watts, which is the bullshit term, inner city, the hood.
Yep. So one thing I want to ask you is, what was it like living there, and was that town heavily like music inspired? Love for music?
No. I'm gonna shout out the legendary homies. When I was young, some brothers that were in my age bracket, and maybe they were brothers. They were a 4-man group called the Boys. So the Boy Down My Heart, they were on. And not too long after that, Brandy would get on. So that was kind of our success when I was, whatever, probably, 14 or whatever, stuff like that. Booyah Tribe is from Carson. Now, of course, we got, Bishop Lamont and Ab Soul, and, it's a rich, also a lot of talent coming out of the city. But back then, Brandy and them actually said they were from Compton. So they would, because Carson is the sister city of Compton. It's right next to. And so the accolades jumped over our city. They went from Long Beach, like from LA, South Central, to Compton to Long Beach, jumped over us. And we're in between Compton and Long Beach. So it wasn't a musical city as far as any recognition. It was definitely some talented people that were, even constructive in, some of the NWA stuff, older homeboys, whatever. Man, it was Carson is a suburb, and again, like I said, the sister city of Compton. We have it's a more of a metropolitan city. It's whereas basically the general history of Compton and Los Angeles period was, obviously, Native Americans, shit's get taken over. So I always tell people, William H. Compton, the guy that Compton's named after, is not a black guy. Compton was a white neighborhood. It was a suburb. And then you know how the story goes. The blacks move in, the whites move out. And then they take all the shit out of it, and then it's a desert. So that's basically what happened with Compton. Carson had a different history. Carson was kind of the middle class place where it was 20% everything. So Carson was like 20% white, 20% black, 20% Mexican, 20% what we call Pacific Islanders. So that'd be Filipinos and Samoans. And then 20% probably mixed up motherfuckers that was, one parent, mixed race kids, whatever. So it was always kind of that gumbo city when I grew up.
Well, it's interesting. And, figured, with that story in mind of what you just told me, how big of an impact was it for people like you to see the rise of NWA, someone from Compton, like a group from Compton? Was it really that big?
I mean, yeah, man. I was too young to go to concerts back then when they first popped, but just the impact they had on my older homies, the impact they had on the culture period at that point was the first song that I really resonated with me was Fuck the Police. It's just brilliant because it's simple and concise. It's a thing that I think a lot of people, young people, people of color, people of a lower class system could relate to. You know, it just summed it up. And my father was a police officer, and I remember just, you innately knew like the police are fucked up and fuck the police, and nobody had ever just said it that way. And so, yeah, man, that shit was lightning in a bottle. Like the brilliance of whatever the fuck, all of those people, Ice Cube, MC Ren, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Yella, like they had some brilliance. I mean, they distilled all this experience that was, I think art starts imitating life, but a lot of times life starts imitating art. They distilled the LA experience, because Oakland doesn't dress or talk like us, honestly, shit, probably Texas back then was more similar in the kind of dress code and gang banging, like, the shit that LA was on. It's just it was different. Like other people, there's gangs in New York, there's gangs in Chicago, but totally different. And just the dress code and everything, that it's a very specific lifestyle. And they summed it up, man. They had help. There was people before them. So there's the Toddy T's and the, even the shit, I think King T might have already been out by then. It was a lot of legends that came out almost in that older era, which would be kind of like for New York, it would have been, the Furious Five and all that, or the Run DMC era-ish type shit. So they're not completely unique, but they distilled it and made that shit so visceral, man. So yeah, lightning in a bottle, man. And WA was lightning in a bottle.
I've heard stories, but I can only imagine, because I was born in 94, plus I'm not from Compton, so I can't imagine the feeling. But like listening to the music and watching all the interviews and documentaries, it feels special.
Yeah, man. And trust me, it was special, but not in the way like, it wasn't the rap videos. Like, what they were talking about was just LA. Like it was going down, like, I can remember, 88, man, and just being a kid and just, it was going down, man. Like gang banging, like people gang banging, heavy, like, you just, like how people readily, like sporting the Raiders hat, man, like it could get you fucked up one place. You know what I'm saying? Just depends, like, because with these gangs, we still do it now, but we're a lot more accepting because we know the world is not just LA. But if you came out here and just wore the wrong shit on an accident, off with your head. So it was just a different time. And so those of us that knew, we still didn't stop us from sometimes running into people, and even when you were a kid, once you're about 12, it was on. Like you are associated with wherever you grew up. So it's like being born into a war that you never said you wanted to join. You never, what I mean? Like a lot of people joined because they got into it or got assaulted or messed with because just where they were born. So you're like, fuck that. I want some get back. So motherfuckers join gangs just because they got fucked over and bullied or whatever. So perpetuated itself. So LA was just so active. Like the older homies always talk about that. Like just like the late 80s was a whole different movie, man. Like those movies that y'all see, the boys in the hoods, like shit was every day.
Yeah. So that movie was like pretty realistic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Way active. And homeboys, I didn't bang, but all your friends like that. Gangbanging is something you decide to do early on. So you're a preteen or a teenager. So you talking about in general the same thing that would happen in any war-torn country. You gotta make a decision at 13, 14 to pull that trigger. And by then, by the time you 15, you a vet. You know what I'm saying? So you got people that was just out there busting a gun at 14, 15, 16 and just and don't know no different. So it's just sometimes I'm like, we corroded the rest of the world. Sometimes I feel like that, like, damn, man, the influence of that experience, but what people don't even stop to understand is that NWA kind of talked about the Black per se experience, like the Crips and the Bloods. We have another factor, the Mexicans. So that, which is related to us, but its own thing too. And like that dynamic, those wars, like this shit was crazy out here. So you didn't only have to worry about the enemy, the Blood against the Crip or the Crip against the Blood. Then you had the essays that might be cool with the Bloods and tripping on the Crips, or cool with the Crips and tripping on the Bloods, or saying fuck everybody and tripping on the Crips and the Bloods. So it was a war out here, a big war. They never covered that shit. This shit was active.
Yeah. That sounds, yeah. I see all the movies, and, I listen to gangster rap a lot, and like I just can't imagine being in that scenario. Yeah,
man, it was not fun sometimes. It wasn't fun. Trust, man. It wasn't fun. But I guess that part of that commonality and camaraderie is like knowing we identify, like we know that shit, like that shit real. Or the homie did that, or So yeah, man. They didn't. I think they were more responsible in the movies, like, to just show the pros and cons of it. Sometimes in a lot of the music, if you on your side, you just waving your flag. So we the best, really on that. So it was rappers just coming out just quick gang banging, like just Crip, just Blood, fuck y'all, fuck this. Same thing he was saying in the street, they saying in the record, and that's like getting everybody else energized. Shit was going down out here. I remember one concert that it was a powder keg waiting to explode. And it was a big concert. And this is even later in life. Like this was like 90 something, 95 or something. But I think Ice-T made the mistake of saying rep your set. My big homie, man, the legend Ice-T. Now I just remember like, that's not a good idea. And then all the hands went up. And then those hands saw the other hands over there. Those hands. And then it turned into a big war in the whole venue. Because, you start repping your set, but then that's your enemies. It's on site. So, I do remember that. I hope I sees this, because either he's going to be like, I didn't do that, or he's going to be like, oh, yeah, I do remember when that happened. So I don't, but I believe it was Ice. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he was like, yeah, rep your set. Went down after that.
Wow. Stories like that are just, the process, you can't make that up. It's just, it happens.
Yeah,
man. So I want to focus on you. So apparently, and I don't know if it's true, but apparently you took your name from the legendary Ethiopian warrior Johannes IV.
Yes.
Whose also name was Ras Kass.
Yes. Yes.
So what inspired that?
Well, I am Johan. There are no J's no J's in Hebrew, no J's in shit. I'm blanking out what the Ethiopian language. I'm sorry. But those older languages don't have J's, and so Johan is even with the Dutch people, same thing, no J. So it would still just be John. So Johan is John. And so he was John IV, I was John IV. Yeah. And when he became Ras Kass was his title once he became the king, the head. And so I thought it was appropriate for me. I am the fourth John Austin in my on my patriarchal side, and probably before that it was a British white guy. So so I still acknowledge it as a slave name, but it is, you know, I am the fourth of the John Austins on my patriarchal side. So to give myself something that was a little bit more meaningful to myself, because of my, you know, my lineage was to take it back to my motherland, you know.
Nice. Well, so that got me thinking. Were you very were you good with like literature and English in school? Was that your thing?
Yeah, I always liked English. I always liked. I just read a lot outside of school. I didn't have any brothers, so all I had was sisters. So you know, I'm from an era that, you know, we barely got HBO, and I wasn't definitely, you know, there was a time when I had to go to bed, so I couldn't watch HBO no more, and it wasn't cable all over the house. So I had to read to occupy my time. My sisters had each other. They could, you know, they had rooms together and they could talk shit and socialize together. And, you know, it was just me as a boy, as the only boy. You know, obviously my pops had vagina. He had my mom. I didn't have shit. So I had books, you know. So it was, you know, dinosaur books and comic books and history books and encyclopedias. We had the whole Encyclopedia Britannica downstairs, and a lot of shit was very interesting to me. So that's where I lived. When I got to be of two worlds. My parents went to school. They dropped us off in Watts. So technically, by consensus, Watts is the worst part of LA. It's not the other places. So Watts Babies is considered the worst. It's the worst, the most hood of the hood, the most ghetto of the ghetto. And so I had the opportunity and the luxury of socializing, you know, from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day in Watts, and then the luxury of coming home once my parents got off work and picked us up and taking us home to Carson. I was pretty quiet, especially, you know, I wasn't old enough to run the streets by the time we got home. So then I was pretty self-contained. I was just reading my own books and doing what I was doing. So it gave me a great balance.
Wow.
At least in my.
Right. Yeah, so all right. So now moving forward, your first independent single comes out, remaining anonymous.
Yes.
Yeah, and apparently it even earned you a hip hop quotable in the Source magazine.
True. So that was.
Can you tell me what was that like? Releasing that single, the vibe in the air, like around your peers?
Yeah, man, it was just you know, we were new to a real studio and doing things like we were a real ragtag bunch of kids that a lot of our big homies, including Battle Cat, salute to him, believed in. So they believed in us, they fortified us, they gave us opportunities, and then those opportunities got us to where we were able to we knew we were doing a vinyl, and I Remain Anonymous is I produced Remain Anonymous, and Bird produced the B-side, Won't Catch Me Running. And so like me and Voodoo, he resampled everything for Remain Anonymous. And for me it was just like I wanted to just make something that showcased who I was. And Wu-Tang had just came out, so I was just a big fan of the You Don't Know Me. I loved when Meth said that. You don't know me and you don't know my style. And then it's kind of an acronym, Remain. So R, Anonymous, A, and then the end of Anonymous is S. So RAS, Remain Anonymous. So it's for me to just kind of come in and just show that at least I thought that I had something to bring to the competition of MCing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people when I did my research, a lot of people call you the West Coast equivalent to Nas, which I think is a pretty cool, deserving name for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a student of Nas and Biggie and Tupac and Ice Cube and Karis One, and you know, you know, all Redman, everything before me, man. There's so many dope MCs. You know, yeah, I've heard that before, and you know, I take it as a badge of you know, of greatness. So yeah, man, that was they used to go, you know, they used to be like Raz is the West Coast answer to Nas, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I just want to be myself. I wasn't trying to, you know, I'm inspired by Nas, and like I said, the Tupac's and everybody. We all are. Everybody's influenced, you know, by somebody. So all those great MCs influenced me.
Nice. Which actually moves on to the next thing, your 1996 debut album, Soul on Ice, on Priority Records. Can you tell me about that? What it was like, the production, did it come out the way you wanted it in the end, like perfectly?
Well, it didn't. The album, in theory, out Soul on Ice, would have come out a year before, at least 12 months before. And unfortunately for me, I was learning the business and realizing I was in bad business situations. Once we dropped Remain Anonymous and got all these other opportunities, I found out that a so-called friend had put me in a really bad business situation. So it was like bittersweet for me at the time that when Soul on Ice was supposed to come out, because we were going to be independent, we didn't think anybody would, you know, we had heard feedback from labels like, well, you know, we don't get it. What is he talking about? You know, whatever. And he doesn't have a khaki suit. He's got Ice Cube. He doesn't have a Jerry curl. So we don't want it. So we kind of got rejected. We were planning on putting it out independent. And so for me, it's always there's all these highs and lows at the same time. The source, once we got a breakthrough and people heard it, and started listening to the lyrics, then we got these opportunities. And then the source heard it, and I was probably, Nas got 5 mics. Within about 6 months of that, my album would have been coming out from Illmatic, and they had heard the majority of the record, and they were about to give me 6 mics. So that's this amazing plus. I almost got 6 mics. Unfortunately, same time, the bidding war is going on now. And instead of us being able to do a very quick deal, I understood I was in a bad production deal and I had to negotiate. And that took another 6-7 months because I needed something to fill. You know, either I was going to kind of like throw it all away, or how was this going to be beneficial from a business standpoint. So it pushed my album back. And then in that meantime, production changed. Like, you know, Wu-Tang, it came out prior to that. So Grimy was really cool. But within a year later, everything got very, very polished. Like even the hip hop records, it was more, you know, digging in the crates, like really, really sonic samples, filters, but really, really clean production. And so we were able to do like Order at KO, a few other songs that had that kind of sonic level. But a lot of songs had already been a style that was our style anyway in that time period. But I almost had to like merge two waves. Like, you know, the really, really gritty Wu-Tang feel had to meet the really, really sonic, you know, or beat miners, like that wave, that kind of production had to meet the really crispy Diamond D shit in this album, and it was too late. We had to let it be what it is. We were able, like Miami Life, a few songs we were able to get them sonic. They still had, you know, the dope lyrics and dope samples. We just, you know, there's just some sonic inconsistencies because that's, you know, they were just produced, sampled with different equipment and whatever. So for me, to answer your question, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I think we did the best under our circumstances. Obviously, if I could do things differently, I would, but there's no time machines. And I know one thing that, you know, my friend Flip, Michael Barber, who helped me to, you know, finish Soul on Ice, He saved the day. He's my brother, and we did the best job we could with the resources we had, and given the time parameter that of negotiating and finding the right deal. So I can only be grateful. A lot of people would never even have one chance. I got a chance to make my debut album, and I feel like we did some amazing things that were a little bit underappreciated at the time, but it is what it is.
Well, when I was listening back to that album for this interview, your debut album, to me, it kind of sounds similar to like an A$AP Rock album. I don't know if you're familiar with that artist, but he's very, it reminds me very lyrical, just constant Shakespeare level lyrical ability. And it blew me away. I was like, fuck, he's a real, I already knew you were the real deal, but to listen to your debut album, it's like, whoa, this is what you're bringing to the table.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. The goal was to write my experiences and the waste no bar to make everything line for line. My biggest goal was at that particular time. My goal was I wanted to be able to give my mother a vinyl or a cassette with my face and voice on it, and I wanted my favorite rappers to at least maybe just say like, "You're valid, you're okay, kid." So I wanted Biggie and Nas and Rakim and Ice Cube and and Big Daddy Kane. I wanted Pun. I wanted those people to say like, "You are at least, you're getting there, kid. You might one day be cool like us." And that was my blessing, is to have every single one of those people I mentioned in real time. Like, dude, you like us, dude. You're a master MC. You're not just a rapper, bro. You over here with us. You one of the greats. I'm like, fuck, okay, I'm on to something. And then the crazy part about that is that it was still more label stuff, but then they train people to not care about lyrics. So lyrics aren't even, stop being important for like 10 years. So that got weird, but it is what it is. But I'm so grateful to have the people because those people changed my life, the Ice Cubes and the, and Rakims. They made me rethink my reality. They had me rethink what I was taught. And I think that's the real power of hip hop, is that it made me question things that my parents hadn't questioned, that, what I'm saying, my teachers, were trying to rigidly, run me through this course of what it means to be smart, which is really just memorizing the shit that they write on the board, which may or may not be true. So for me, I've always, that's been the torch that lights my way. Is I've been blessed to say some things that have had meaning to others, the same way that others said things that changed me, and I benefited spiritually, emotionally, and even financially.
I'm curious, for the album Soul on Fire, Soul on Ice. Soul on Ice. How long was the writing process? How long did that take you?
I always say your first album, you had your entire life. So, for me, it was all my experiences and the things I wanted to keep, the things I didn't want. But that's not true. Because all my previous demos, I didn't use any songs from before. If I had to, it's the easy answer is it took about a year, and then that year of negotiations, I was able to do a couple more records. So a year and 3 months. The more honest answer is that I had my entire life, 16, 17 years or whatever it was, however old I was.
Yeah. Nice. Before I go on to my next question, I want to ask because that means you were around in the time you were active during the self-proclaimed East Coast West Coast war, the hip hop war of Tupac and Biggie and the rest. So, like, what was that like being West Coast? Like, what was that like for you? Was there a different energy in the air? Was it?
Um, I think that I really feel like it was a contrived war. I think that the media fueled it. But you really had now there was always competition. There was always some shit talking. New York felt that they made it, and then they were bad because West Coast was selling more records and this other form that wasn't as lyrical. Um, my biggest, greatest argument now is what I always say is LA sat there arguing with its cousin, New York, and New York was mad because it was the big brother. And meanwhile, the South came and fucked everybody, and they don't do any lyrics in general. Very few lyricists from the South. So that was a stupid thing, and it was really contrived, honestly. I think New York was talking shit, taking pot shots. But that's just ego, Tim Dog, fuck Compton, whatever. But it wasn't a beef. It was just, you know, uh, some people in positions with a voice, voicing their disdain, like that ain't lyrical, fuck that. It's people do it with fucking, with your favorite, rugby team. Motherfuckers will fight over a fucking football team. So it wasn't much more than that. Those two people had their own personal issue, and that was a lot. That was different. So Tupac and Biggie used to be friends, and then had a falling out over a robbery, and that's a whole down. That was a beef and issues. They had issues, and they just happened to be two of the biggest people in our. They were the biggest people in our fucking medium, but they used to be best friends. A robbery goes wrong or goes right, who knows, whatever, and then they have a beef, and their beef becomes some manifestation of the East and West, and it wasn't. That was them with their shit, with things that I wish they would have resolved. But they had the resources and the power and the streets and the money and the politics to inflict pain on each other. And ultimately, that's what they did to each other. They cost both their lives whack.
Yeah, that's obvious. Obviously unfortunate. Was there a big moment in time when Tupac dropped the song "Hit 'Em Up"? Was that like, did everyone just in the air go, "Oh my god, what have you done?" Or "Oh shit, it's going on now"? Or was there any kind of drama in the air? Like,
I mean, back then, I remember when he came out with it. I think we saw the video first because I knew Tupac, and I knew, especially because I knew I used to run the streets, and I was younger then, but I was homies with a lot of the thug life. So I wasn't like in the studio hanging all the time. And I knew Money B, he had already brought me in, and that was becoming my family. So the Digital Underground side of the family. So I already fucked with Pac, and basically he was part of my tribe already through Digital Underground and through, and through Thug Life. But yeah, when he dropped that, I can vaguely just remember like, wow, because he didn't really strike me as a liar. So like, he's talking about I fucked your bitch, and I'm like, yo, this nigga's crazy. I had not heard nobody just, I heard battle raps, but I'm like, yo, he is not battle rapper, man. This dude's on like real vindictive, honest shit. It was like, it wasn't even the best lyrical bars. He wasn't doing like lyrical bars. He was like, fuck you, fuck this, and you did that. Like, it was personal, bro. It was not wasn't no East Coast, West Coast beef. That was Tupac Shakur against Christopher Wallace, man. And them niggas just had a lot of power, money, fame, yes man, and the people that'll do anything when you on. So it just got uglier and uglier. But now the record was dope. I mean, shit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. LA did the same thing when What You Call Him came out. Who shot you? Motherfuckers like, God damn.
Yeah.
It made for amazing music, and I wish that's what it could have stayed at. But they were going at each other. I mean, Biggie had already said it though. I mean, the funny shit is that Biggie said that, Pac did whatever he did. He did it on the Jay-Z album. He said if Faith had kids, she probably had two Pacs. Get it? Two Pac. And so whatever they was doing, that was so personal, man. It's so ugly because that was like a real, that's some crazy bet from best friends become strangers, not even strangers. Best friends become worse enemies type shit. That's what they were on.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, every time I hear that song, it's just like I feel the aggression, I feel the anger, I feel it's insane.
Yeah, man.
All right, so now I can get into the other questions. So now I want to talk about your third album, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Van Gogh. 2001, Van Gogh. And the thing I find interesting is apparently with this production of this album, Priority Records merged with Capitol Records, and there was some drama in between. So, if you don't mind, would you mind telling me what was going on during that album, please?
In general, when mergers happen, nobody works because they're busy passing out their resumes. And so I was working on this, this record that, we thought, it was dope. We had a dope record. And maybe a week before, we shot a dope video, all kind of, everything, moving on our, because you go to meetings, marketing meetings, and you go into the office, and everybody's still doing a job, everybody's on it, whatever. And then, you got to go to radio, and well, why is the record not activating? And well, and whatever, and everybody has an excuse, but really what it was then, a week before the record came out, and all of a sudden heads rolled. Everybody was fired. It was, I went to the office, and it's 1 week is, 100 people in there, and the next week is 20. They're like, fuck, including the president and the so-and-so. Now there's a new president, a new vice president. I'm like, fuck. And, basically nobody had done their job because they were afraid that they might be getting fired. And a lot of them were fired. So they were out shopping resumes. They weren't busy trying to work Ras Kass's record to ensure his success. They dropped the ball on me because they were trying to preserve themselves, and that's understandable. I mean, I don't appreciate it. I don't like it, but I understand it. So I came with my attorney, and the agreement that I was given was to either let the record come out, it would underperform, and then they would drop me, or what they wanted to do was hold the record, salvage it, as many things that we liked out of it, create a new budget, and could become the marquee player for the team, because Snoop only had a few more albums to do. So Ice Cube was leaving. He had fulfilled his obligations. So it would be like me and Snoop Dogg there. They were going to kind of clear out the ranks and be able to focus on who they want to focus on. And so that's the way it was pitched to me, which is why I stayed. And then they reneged on that, and that's when I knew I was in a bad place, because they were supposed to clear my debt for some of that recording budget, and then, whatever. And they didn't do some of the things that we had agreed to. So now here I go with these new people who are fucking liars too. And we started off on the bad foot because it started off on a lie. In retrospect, coulda, shoulda, woulda. There's no time. There's no time machines. But if I would have been told the truth, I would have let the record come out. It wouldn't have done well, and then I would have walked, and I could have went on with my journey. Instead, I got put in a position where I stayed at a place. Who then and then they were supposed to count that as an album, So fulfilling my obligation. And what they did was they didn't even say that. I fulfilled my obligation for the third album. So I'd be on my fourth and then I could get my fifth done. So they basically said, no, you're still on your third album. My first album came out in 96. It's 2001, 2002 now. So you mean I'm on my third album? It's taking me damn near 10 years. That's fucked up. That's not fair. By no fault of my own. So, you know, I started seeing the writing on the wall. And then it got personal, it got racist, and it got a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I did which is probably the story of most people's lives. We do the wrong things for the right reasons, you know? So yeah, we tried to salvage it. We did the Golden Child album. Now we got Premiere. So we had a Kanye record, and on the low we had a Dr. Dre record. And then they found out. I didn't want them to know we had a Dr. Dre record because I knew that they would hinge my career again on the Dr. Dre record, and they didn't pay for it. It was him being, you know, looking out for me. And he had done that before. I'm the Kid right before Eminem, and they had failed him, and I didn't want him to look embarrassed and be failed again. So there was a whole marketing strategy we had created, and right for the album with mastering, if they executed, I had a high-tech record with me and Phil March. So it was like the Premiere record first, College, the hip hop record, Golden Child, it's official. That's the way everybody else does it. Jay-Z, Common, Nas, you come out with your Premiere record and hit the streets and kill them. And then you got this other kind of bigger record that's more little quote unquote radio. We had a high-tech record. I had 2 Scott Storch records. We had this Kanye record. So we had a whole plan. And then we were going to say, by the way, once we've executed, we're going to just really knock it out the park because we have this Dr. Dre record with Busta Rhymes on the hook. But they found out about and we had a marketing plan. We had it for 5-6 months. And then they found out that I had a Dr. Dre record, and then they reneged on the marketing strategy and decided they were going to put out the Dre record first. And then when me and Dre said no, then they decided they would never put my album out. So I just had a bad company. They just did not. And it really was arrogance. Being told no, you know, I always say this, man, and it's okay, but people don't have a genuine concern about whatever it is you're doing, then it gets into that slave owner's mentality that they think they own you, and it's not consideration of the art form. So if I, you know, it's almost like the football owner that says, well, I own you guys. No, you own the team, man. I play for your team. Don't do that. You don't own me. You don't own me as a person, bro. And that's what it started becoming, like this ownership. Like, well, if you don't want to do it the way we said that we own you, we'll just kill your life. Like, come on, man, that shit whack. You know? And so, yeah, that was my journey there, man. It was unfortunate because we have really amazing albums. Like Golden Child, I mean, Van Gogh was dope. And I was going through, there's like these time capsules. The Golden Child was like the quintessential, everything that people said I should have done and could have done with Golden Child. I mean, with Soul on Ice, it's like we did. One of the nicest compliments, because I would go on to go to prison a year later from that point. But Paul Rosenberg, Eminem's manager, would write me and just say, like, bro, I'm still playing this Golden Child album. Like, this shit is dope, you know. And we did such a great job, and you know, it was just unfortunate that the company didn't have it, and they just hinged my career on Dr. Dre. But you can't, like I always tell people, like you can't be you can't be reactive. Like if I throw the hot grease and the lighter at you, it's already too late. You know what I'm saying? You gotta already kind of see things coming. And unfortunately, I had a very reactive company I don't think they had a lot of, I really don't think they had a lot of interest in Black music. And I think they should have just let us all go because Faith Evans was there. Actually, they were about to sign Kanye. He better be happy he didn't sign there. He'd be fucked too. He wouldn't have had the trajectory and the journey he had. The company at that particular point, I don't know where they are now, but at that particular point, did not have a vision. Kylie Minogue was my label mate, and I think they were doing better over there. They just didn't love the culture. They loved Kylie Minogue and they loved the Beatles catalog. Who doesn't love the Beatles? I love them too. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't have it. So they really did ultimately change the trajectory of quite a few really talented people's star, rising star. That star can only go up, if the company is assisting and pushing those buttons. But if you got somebody that is inactive, unconcerned, not doing even the minimal part of the job to see success, then, it was a very unfortunate experience over there.
Well, I was listening to that album Van Gogh literally a few hours before this interview, and it really is a masterpiece. Like, it's a really good album, and you sound great. The production sounds great. So all things considered, it really did turn out amazing.
Thanks, man. Now we always try to give 110% with our resources. So we were in a good place with Van Gogh. Ras Kass Nation. Every time, whatever resources we have, I've always felt like everybody steps up and we do a bang up job, man. And that's at the end of the day. That's how I'll go to sleep. That's how I want to know that. I want to know that I gave it 110% because I don't have control over other factors in the world. I can't make everybody listen. I can't make everybody, you know what I mean? I can't make the Spotify or the playlist people put me on all the playlists. I can just do a really good job and then have people around me who do a great job. So I can thank them, God willing, that I'm compensating them fairly, that I can pay them and say, thank you so much for doing such a great job. And then we hope the world will appreciate it. That's always the goal.
Well, hopefully with this interview, hopefully it opens up more ears and eyes to your music and your journey, and get some more listeners.
Thanks.
It's the least I can do. So 2003 comes up and you form the iconic Horsemen, HRSMEN, with Cannabis, Killer Priest, and Corrupt. Tell me, how did that come together? Who initiated it? Was it a group effort?
So it's really based on there was a rap battle that we were already the Horsemen. Honestly, we probably became the Horsemen around 2000, 2001, maybe even earlier than that, to be honest. Yeah, we became the Horsemen in 98, something like that, 99, like right after Destination. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So 99, we became the Horsemen. It was because there's a very wonderful Irish lady. Her name is Wendy Day, little redhead, wonderful lady who has something called Rap Coalition, and she essentially for years would assist artists like rappers. She loves hip hop, and she I call her rap's angel. She's hip hop's angel, and so she would. Fight on behalf of artists that were, being mistreated by labels, and she helped so many people. You can Google that later. She's just awesome. So Rap Coalition. But anyway, Wendy was doing something called the Rap Olympics for a couple of years in a row. And this particular Rap Olympics, there was going to be an MC like group battle, MC group battle. So this is like 90, 98, 90, 99 maybe. And M is just now really about to get on too. So M hasn't met Dre at all, but M buzzing and, whatever. So they had like the solo MC battle. Then they had all these group teams, but it was supposed to be signed MCs. So it's like Wu-Tang was going to have a team and so and so Redman and Method Man. Method Man was gonna. Redman and keep whatever all these teams. Whatever. And so we had a team. I had a team. I was putting together my team, and so I wanted Corrupt on my team. I already knew Cannabis from Atlanta, and Cannabis didn't have anything out yet. Maybe he might have had Music Makes Me High remix, maybe, or something like that. He might have had maybe one thing, but I had known him for a while, a couple of years already. So I was like, yo, you want to be on my team? And he was like, yeah. And then Corrupt called me, yeah. And then he was like, yo, I want you to be on my team. And then I was like, well, he said, I want you to be on my team. I'm going to get Cannabis on my team. And I was like, well, I already got Cannabis on my team. And then he was like, well, fuck it. We'll do our team together. And then he was like, and I won't kill a priest. And I was like, I don't know him, but I'm a fan. And fuck it, if you get him. So that was our team. So it started from being this team for Windy Day's Battle. Pretty much all the signed artists pulled out. So then it wasn't worth it for, Killer Priest, Ras Kass, Corrupt, who had record deals. Because I wanted to battle signed artists, because then, it's kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was like clout. We wanted to take the clout. And so when all the signed artists pulled out, it's like, it ain't even worth it. And then we just ended up, that became a relationship that maybe Cannabis or Killer Priest, somebody had an open slot on their album, was like, yo, we should rap on one song. And that became the Horseman. Yeah.
So this rap Olympics, was that the same one that Eminem talks about? One of the songs that he won? Or no, second.
The second one where he lost.
Yeah, he himself.
Yeah, because I judged that. Or something like that. I gotta ask Wendy, but I either judged it or helped, kind of like whatever crowd judge. I felt I did something and I cheered him up. I remember just kind of telling him, like, bro, you dope, bro. You killed it. Like, don't be down on yourself. I vaguely remember telling him, because he was dope. I already knew him. I knew him from Detroit. Like, he had to open up for me and stuff like that. So a lot of people already knew each other, would come across each other. So yeah, that was that was very interesting. That it's almost like the Jordan thing. Like, Jordan wasn't number one draft, but he goes on to become to dominate the league. So but we always knew him was special. We know he was dope.
Yeah, I heard somewhere, maybe it's wrong, but I remember reading or hearing somewhere that the rapper, the late Ideal, won a Rebel Olympics, didn't he?
He did. He won.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a dope rapper. Well, he was a dope rapper as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't nothing to kick yourself down about. But we're all, MCs are, ones that care about the craft. Anybody is going to be competitive at whatever you do. If you're a stylist, if you make fashion, if you race boats, whatever the fuck you do, you want to. Some people are okay with mediocrity, and people that really love something want to be the best at it. It's just the nature of humans. So yeah, and he was right there, and you have those days where you could have done better. And because if I remember, I feel like maybe M's third verse, like, or they did another round, something like it was something like that. Like, maybe it was already 3 and they did it, and M crushed it, and then they went to like one more round just because everybody was so hyped, and he didn't have that 4th round, and it was something like that where. I feel like I do feel like I told him, like, yeah, what but you crushed it, and you technically, I would have said you won it off the 3. I think it was something like that. I was like, the 4th one, he got busy, but technically it was supposed to be 3 rounds. So I feel like you won, but you ain't got no reason to put your head down because you killed it, bro. So, because I'm a firm believer. I can't, I don't want to slow down or hinder anybody's growth and journey that their mother or God or the universe gave them. So I always want to see people shine, man. I'm the complete opposite of like a hater. I love to see people that, especially in this hip hop shit, like another fellow MC. I love to see another dope MC shine because, you know, I want to see myself shine. And so I feel like seeing another brother, you know, do his thing is motivation for me to know it can be done. So I always look at it that way. Not everybody does, but I see it that way. So I'm a big believer in helping, you know, a fellow MC lyricist.
Yeah. Which actually moves on quite nicely to the next topic. Your debut, your one album, The Horseman Project for The Horseman. Is there a reason why you only recorded one? Is there a future one coming? Is it just like one of those lightning in the bottle things?
Yeah, man. The reason why we only recorded one is because it's hard being in a group. And, you know, people have their agendas and their personalities and external shit, their management, their girlfriend. Just, it's hard being in a group. And honestly, indirectly, you know, this really happened thanks to COVID. You know, to have enough time for me to take inventory and, you know, I was able to look at the things that we had incomplete over all these years. So that album is not like stuff we did just last year. That is like past 10 maybe years of stuff added. Put, you know, I was stripping it, taking, you know, putting beats on, you know, new beats to old lyrics and and then I was able to get it to a certain point and then ask the fellas to come in and fill in the blanks, because that's what I wanted it to be. Again, like you said, how long it take me to make Soul on Ice, and I say my entire life. It took us 20 since 1999 to create that album. It was that chemistry, and it was really awesome to do it. As an exec producer on that particular project, for me, it was more a love letter to the journey, the experience with those brothers, because we could never get it done right. Somebody would bootleg the shit, you know, or, you know, whatever. It just we can never get the record done for one reason or another. And meanwhile, Slaughterhouse, you know, our homies that basically we came out before them, showed that they could be organized, do these awesome, you know, group albums, and then, you know, retire before the time we could get one out. So for me, it was just like about closing that door. That's why it's called The Last Ride. I just wanted to, you know, I'm proud of what Joel and Crooked and, you know, and Royce and all of them got accomplished. And they showed us what we should have been focused. You know, if we would have done that 10, 20 years ago, all the doors we could have opened as that super group. I just wanted to show us that it could be done. And I don't think it's the end. Everybody said they want to do another one, and it's pretty cool. They want me to exec produce it again, and it'd be really good because now they see that it can be done. I think, you know, for the longest, it just seemed insurmountable. But now that I've kind of figured out how I would do it, and I think my peers, my brothers, they've let me take the role I want to take, which is kind of, you know, the RZA of it. Let me kind of formulate the idea, the general concept, and then we can all come together figuring out the production. But I'll come up with the basic sketch of this project, and then we'll go from there. So it's really nice, man. It's what I want to do. I love being exec producing anyway, so it was really nice that my brothers feel like I did a good job. So that shit's cool.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a great album. And you know, going on this research, it got me thinking, if you had to pick any four new generation rappers to be the new Four Horsemen or the new Horsemen, who would you choose based on lyricism?
Oh man. Damn it.
Anyone that stands out to you right now, like holy shit, they got bars, or
it's a lot of dope guys, man. I don't even want to, you know, you know, Corday is dope, and what's his name? M. Los, something Los. Los, this brother's name, something Los. He's dope. He's from Washington, D.C. I can't think of his name right now. Coast Contra, my twins are crazy with their group. But there's a lot of dope cats, man. It's just, I think right now is a renaissance of talent, to be perfectly honest. That, you know, it's very interesting because the choice of production is not necessarily aesthetically what I would pick. You know, I like some trap beats are fire, but then some of them I'm just like, I mean, like, how is that the hot beat? Like, I can't, some of them just don't sound fire to me. Some be super dope. But when over that kind of tempo, it kind of 9 times lends itself to a certain kind of pattern, just period. But then some of those same dudes, you can take them and put them on a different production style, and then they can bar up. So it's a lot of those little sleeper agents, cats that know how to make that kind of a record, and then know how to actually rhyme too. So I'm excited for the ones that like to play around, and you know, it's almost like the children of Lil Wayne is almost what they are. They're like all these little kind of trappy, but they got some bars to them. You know, like the angrier children of Drake. You know what I'm saying? Those can still rhyme. They can sing a little bit, but they can rhyme too. Yeah.
You know, when I was thinking about it, even though, to me, I could think of 3 names, not 4, but 3 names, in my opinion, that these artists just stand out to me the most in lyricism. And for me, that has to be Earl Sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah, he's dope.
And yeah, Corday. I think those 3, to me, are the superior lyricists. Like,
who did you say? You said Earl Sweatshirt, Corday, and who?
JID.
Oh yeah, he's dope. He's dope.
Yeah. So that would be my pick.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right there with me. I forgot about JID and Earl Sweatshirt. They are definitely dancing, but just this other kid, what's his name? Something Los. From Detroit, nasty, very, very nasty, very, very nasty.
Well, I
have to hit you on Facebook when I figure it out.
Nice. By the way, have you heard of the producer Knowledge? He does Knowledge. He does a duo with Anderson .Paak. No worries. Yes. He's a young producer, and he has a lot of Jay Dilla vibes about him. Like, he's very influenced, you can tell, by Jay Dilla, and actually you might have heard him. But yeah, I'll send you a link after this interview, YouTube link, and
the shit.
Good. So talking about producing, actually, I want to know what was it like to be in this studio with Dr. Dre? Like, I've heard all these horror stories about how brutal he can be, like how perfectionist he is. Like, what's it like being with him?
For me, my horror stories are not really about him. My horror stories are like, my peers would get mad at me because they would say he never made me fix my raps like he made them fix theirs. Honestly, I always, I got kind of, you know, I learned a lot from just those experiences. He's brilliant. He's definitely perfectionist. I watched him let like the cleaning lady, because he's fair. He cares about the record. So I watched him like let the cleaning lady basically take a shot. She came in and we were trying to figure out whatever we were trying to figure out in the song, and she said she could do it, and he literally gave her a shot. And taught me a lot there. It was not about the ego, and that it's about the record. Like what's gonna make, if she would have came up with the right shit, I believe she'd still be on that record and whatever, and a superstar or whatever. But the fact that he gave her a shot was crazy, because it's very hard to get into those rooms with Dr. Dre or with Jay-Z or whatever. A lot of people have never gotten in those rooms and will never get in those rooms. But once she was in there, the fact that, and she wasn't there as no artist, she was there as a cleaning person. The fact that he gave her a shot was crazy. And I just thought that was super cool. Yeah. And then, aside from that, man, like I watched him really make people bar for bar, like totally, you could tell they were mad, they were embarrassed. I thought it was funny. I won't name names, but I just watched them make people do shit. But it's for the better of the song. And then some of us, they get mad. Like, how come when you do it, he say what you do is really good? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm really good. So I don't know. Don't be mad at me. So I never had a horror story of, nah, do it again. Nah, do it. And my shit was like, yeah, it's dope. What you hear? Like, I think I need to fix that. Like, I was thinking that. Okay, cool. But everybody requires different training. I think the most thing he would try to get me to do a lot, but I was cognizant when I would be around him, is just letting the record breathe. A lot of times I'm just barring up, and I'm never really letting people stop to appreciate what I just said. And then it's less. He understands the power of silence, the power of a break, the power of a pause. He understood that and understands that. And that's something even to this day, sometimes I'm like, fuck, I gotta just let it breathe. Like, because then that creates a pattern, just whatever that, just like a heartbeat. The heart don't just go, it's like boop, 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 boop. It creates a melody. So that pattern, that pause, I needed to, that's something I'm still relearn every time I'm working on a record. It's like, shit, let the shit breathe. Let it breathe. Because I'm such a content, I'm about the bars. I forget about the melody and making it an experience sonically over the records. And some people are really good at that. Some are, some are so awesome that they're cognizant of both. So, Busta Rhymes, he'll create these amazing patterns and say some dope shit. I think Eminem's really good at that. Royce. Some people are just Pharoah Monch. Some people are just good at melodies. Trap music in general is a cool melody. And then you can bounce with it. You know what's coming next. But then there's no subject matter. I just have always been focused on subject matter. I'm a subject matter focuser. So primarily, I'm listening for the bar. I'm not listening to if you could do the same melody through the whole rap. I know it's good for the ear. It's more of a record making thing for people to say, oh, I know it. I like it. The jingle rap like this. And jingle. Me, I don't care about the jingle part of it. I care about the fuck all the words. What did I say? What was I destroying within that 4-bar phrase? But it's awesome, man. Being in the studio with Dre is awesome. I hope to actually be back soon. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be dope. I can't wait to hear it. That happens. But I want to talk about, so last few questions. You just released the album Soul on Ice 2.
Yeah.
So what was going through your mind releasing that, naming it after your debut album? Is there a connection with that, or just something you chose to name it?
No, it's completely. It completely is solo nice too. It literally is. Um, Basically 25 years after my first album, and taking inventory. You know, you just named people. You know, what we have. We've just mentioned people that say Pac will never be able to celebrate its 25th anniversary. Biggie, you know what I'm saying? So these people, they, you know, Nipsey is sad for, you know, I'm blessed. I mean, you know, I may not have the accolades or the politics or the hype machine that some of these other brothers had, or see some of these other newer guys have, but I'm blessed. I'm completely blessed. I'm blessed to have had the opportunity. I'm blessed to have the journey. I'm blessed to be alive in the journey to celebrate it. So all three of those are factors for me to take inventory. And for me, it wasn't even planned. I wasn't even trying to make Solo Nice 2. I was trying to make a whole different album. And as I looked up playing the music, you know, months later, I was just listening. And I was like, I'm not making why am I not making the record that I'm trying to make? I'm making some other shit to figure out that I was making Solo Nice 2. It's always innate and natural for me. I just realized I was already making something that it was here. It wasn't even up here. That shit was subconscious, if anything. It was back here maybe. And once I understood that I was making Solo Nice 2 and taking some inventory and recognizing that I'm blessed to have 25 years after anything. You know, some people don't even make it to 25 years of life. So it was only right to you know, because it was coming out here and it was coming out here, was to formulate it and put it together. And the first song on the album is called Silver Anniversary, which is your 25th anniversary. And literally just taking inventory. You know, I asked some pretty hard questions on that record. You know, I make some pretty interesting observations of myself and of the world. Solo Nice is really about being conflicted and looking at the world and hoping that we can make it a better place. And 25 years later, Solo Nice 2 asked that same question. Did we make it better? I hate to admit that I think what the conclusion I reach is no, which is the fucked up part of Solo Nice 2. Is that the same things we were talking about. There's less emphasis on intelligence. It's more about being silly and self-destructive. Racism has gotten even more vocal. It used to be like taboo to just be a complete asshole yelling racist. Now that's your president. So this shit is crazy. You know, it's a sad story, but I'm blessed to at least be here to narrate it. And who knows if I'm blessed enough to see another 25 years of my first album, I may have to, you know, I may never get the accolades of Eminem and, you know, these people I know, and, you know, some people who I know I've inspired, but that ain't my gauge. I have to do my journey. And, you know, maybe this world will realize how much they lost by not paying me attention, and maybe paying attention to some of these other cats that don't even write their raps. We'll see. I'm just here to make it. I'm just here to make the music.
That's amazing. Look, I've got one more curveball question for you, but just so far, thank you for being so honest with me. Thank you for taking the time out with me, and I've really enjoyed this interview so far.
Oh, thanks, man.
So this curveball question, I like to ask everybody. It keeps them on their toes, and I love seeing their reaction because they're not expecting it. So it should be interesting. I want to know, in your opinion, what is the most underrated and overrated album of all time?
Fuck. In my genre or overall?
It's up to you.
Okay, overrated. Mm. I don't know, bro. That's a hard question. I don't even know. I know neither one of those. Like, there's some gems that are just totally looked over. I can't, and I just can't even think of them right now. And then overrated. I mean, there's so many overrated, but the most, I mean, man, half the albums that these people do today to me are overrated. I feel like the bar is set so low, and I don't mean anything against them, but I just think if you compare whoever they say is really dope right now, and you put them in who came out in 1996 and played their albums, they'll get smoked. Their albums wouldn't compete. It's just the bar is set lower. So I just think 2000 in general, everybody 2017 is overrated. I just think they overrated. I don't think they bars is like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Seb.
Thank you, brother.
No, thank you so much for your time. And as soon as I upload this to YouTube, I'll send you the link and you can check it out yourself. Share it, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna share it, man. Let me know, bro.
Oh, I will. All right. Thank you again for your time. Have a good day.
Okay, take care.
Have a good one.
Peace.